Oh, you wait.
Probably
man.
going to be in trouble anyway.
We're gonna chop it like.
What did you write about me anyway? What did you do this time?
No, it's a story. I wrote a story on the meeting last night because Michael's swamped. I'm on vacation right now, and I'm working because I'm like
just like me,
25 hours a day,
like I
right?
said,
25 hours a day right now.
You know what? I have no problem
I walk around like this.
15,
They call me Atlas because I got the
yeah,
world.
I know. I've texted you on time. We are live. But we're also on tape. We are deep down in the bowels of Lee's Music. Episode 75. Kamloops last week. Christopher Foulds, Magic Mike, and Bill at the controls. 75.
75. What else but Norm Fieldgate. Norm Fieldgate, an original BC Lion from 654, their birth. He played from 54 to 67. He was a defensive end and linebacker, smaller back then. He won the Grey Cup in 1964, and he died at the ripe old age of 88 on March 6, 2020. Norm Fieldgate, one of the great Lions, and his 75 is one of the few jerseys retired by God's team.
75 was this a big episode? 75, Mike, can you believe it? You think we're going to last that long?
I did actually. I know. I thought too, and then Tim was going to cut us.
After the first two, they're so bad. I'd say the first probably 35 were pretty bad. They still aren't even really great, but hey, we're getting there.
And we're still pretty bad.
Yeah. Okay. Show today is amazing. Flat out good show. Full disclosure, we already talked to Reid Hamer-Jackson. We filmed it, so we know what's in the can. It's long, but we're going to play pretty much the whole thing because
it's interesting.
It's of interest to the taxpayers, to council members, to anybody in Kamloops, I think. Also, Above the Foulds today, you want to talk about?
The report into the investigation at True into complaints against two senior administrators regarding various alleged boorish behavior. It came out yesterday, much anticipated report, almost 2 years after the first complaints were filed. So we'll talk about that.
I'm going to talk about a nightmare day for Kamloops sports. Let's call a spade a spade. Sunday was a bad day for curlers in Kamloops. The Brown Rink knocked out. Jim Cotter didn't get to the final. Jared Colomea got to the final, knocked out. He's married to Sam Fisher, who's in the Brown Rink. And the Brown Rink, the big story of it all is they will not compete, basically a once-in-a-career opportunity, on home ice, the National Scotties, which is at the Sandman Center next month. Very sad, but I want to just talk about how they picked up the calls during tough times and stood in for some tougher questions, and how I think it's honorable because that doesn't always happen. Mm-hmm. People answer the calls when they win, and we'll get to that with the Brown Rink. First, do you know, Mike, Tom Lavin and the legendary Powder Blues?
Powder Blues, what a great band, of course, yeah.
They're what kind of, it's blues, obviously? Or?
So Powder Blues is doing it right on the wrong side of town. They've got horns. It's a big horn blues
ensemble.
Rock kind of awesomeness. And he's a legendary producer down in Vancouver that is Sabrina Weeks, a local Maple Blues award-winning band. Actually had the Powder Blues guys join her on one of her albums, and I think produced parts of it as
Swing
well.
Cat Bounce.
Swing Cat Bounce, yeah.
Yes.
Sabrina
really
Weeks,
well.
voice trainer who trained Cameron Whitcomb, who was
That's
on
right.
American Idol, who was on our show.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, it's 6
Anyway,
degrees of separation.
It all revolves around Kamloops.
It's all about KLW, 75, Norm Fieldgate. Okay, we have 4 tickets, that's why I bring it up, to give away. And once again, I'm the absolute worst at figuring these giveaways out, but I'm going to do it on Instagram again, cut this clip up somehow and try and give these tickets away. So 4 tickets, and also later on, I've got 4 Scotties tickets, 2 pairs of 2 to the first draw of the National Scotties to give away too, so lots of things to give away. But first we have to talk about what you and me, what we did last weekend, because it was huge.
You know, it's we have epic journeys and epic things that we do that we're going to talk about for generations to come, for our kids and our kids' kids and their kids. It was very exciting. And Chris, you go ahead.
Well, I think we had heard about the the story in the Kamloops this week about the great horned owl attacking skiers down at Stake Lake who was trying to protect its nests. So that's what, when we were down there, we didn't know what that was until we wrote the story. But remember, we went on this, we decided, let's try cross-country skiing because it's a pretty nice blue sky day. It was cloudy in Kamloops. So when we got there, it was getting just dusk, and when we got our skis, right? And we're all pretty beginners.
But we actually, so the area, weird, we went to Mission Flats. We went to Mission Flats for our cross-country skiing. And do you know what we found there? It looked like a distillery that was about to open. Did you see that?
Yeah, amongst the dirt and no snow, there was a distillery about to open, and I think it's really great because it's some of my favorite flavored vodka drinks. The club car was there.
But you're right. We were basically cross-country skiing on tarmac. So there was some sparks issues, right? And some heat was created in some of the stores that we were going into. It was too hot, so who did we have to call in?
We had a cold control mechanical to Vinny came in to make sure that, you know, all the electrical and heating and systems were working well there. Yeah.
Well, I think what he found was the skis that we rented, when we returned them with all the scratches, the inside temperature got so hot of the ski rental place, who's going to be a future sponsor of our show, maybe on the back board here.
The Magic Mirror brought to you
That's
by?
what by these guys somewhere. Yeah.
And so we brought these skis back.
And the real interesting thing was when we brought the skis back, they were still piping hot. But the cool thing was our coffee had just got a little tepid being out there. We just put it right against the skis and it warmed it right up.
And
It's always at the perfect temperature.
Always.
Always, but the problem was the skis were still damaged. And what did I do? I forked up a lot of money because I'm benevolent, but also because I had some left over because the coffees are only $1.
105 a tax.
That's right. And lattes are $2.
Everything came together again on the Mission Flats, the great cross-country Mission Flats trip of 2023.
And the thing was, it was so exhausting because, you know, I don't often go out and do cross-country skiing. It's way more tiresome than you think. When I got home, right into a Sealy mattress, and I slept like a log.
And I actually started making a bet on how long is Fouldsy going to be out for.
And the bet app.
And I had to use BetStamp.
Yeah,
Why do we use BetStamp? It's like the Trivago.
Yeah, it gets you, you want to bet on a game, it tells you the best odds. It finds the best odds for you to bet on.
And I could see you were dreaming, and it was about David Eby so tall and lettuce. It's your sweet dreams you were having. It was amazing. Well,
What's
man.
creepy is you were watching them sleep.
Yeah.
Maybe
Vinny and Dustin were there too.
Yes.
Because
all
they're
of
so
us.
reliable.
Maybe EB can do something about the lettuce prices.
And Cold Control Mechanical, by the way, it's HVAC, and it's your heating, your cooling, your AC. They're so reliable, Vinny and Dustin. They're back from their convention. They're not wearing their furries anymore. They're the best. Okay, let's move on to an elongated version of Reader's Digest, brought to you by Cold Control Mechanical.
There's other people in the same business, so what makes you guys stand out?
We're cold as ice. We're primarily refrigeration contractors servicing the commercial market, heating, cooling, commercial refrigeration, gas fitting, kind of a one-stop shop.
Well, when you call Cold Control Mechanical, you're getting a personalized feel. You know you're going to get 2 qualified technicians. We both have our tickets. Who you call and talk to is usually who's going to show up at the door. So,
If we can find a solution to your problem, we will.
you know, we're both ambitious guys, and we like to get after it. And
I mean more like the jobs you guys have completed with Cold Control, like who you're...
oh, is that what you mean? Okay, we'll leave that out. Eh?
Yeah, leave that out.
Yeah, I was like, that's an odd one. It's okay.
I don't know what you'll edit it and stuff. I don't know.
Let's start right there. He hates that picture. Why do you hate the picture? You don't like the robe?
You don't like the professorial the tone of it?
I
or-
look more like Santa Claus than anything else. Come on.
Who we've had on the show, by the way.
You got better pictures than that, don't you?
It's a good. It's a
hey,
it's a
there's
regal
no
photo of
chain.
you.
There's even a chain there. I don't even have my chain.
Well, because you know why? Because the chain
gone.
got stolen
I know what
because
happened. I
you
heard
know,
about
the
what
crime
happened.
and
Yeah, I heard
quality of
it.
life and all that
I
kind of
heard
stuff.
about the
I will still offer a guitar if anybody brings back that chain, by the way.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yes.
A guitar for the return of the mayor's chain of office.
Well,
got your
apparently,
camera going?
the rumor is you better get out to the landfill.
You got your Magic Mirror cam
That's
today?
the rumor. Yes, exactly.
There he is. The
There I
Magic
am.
Mirror. Oh, you got a little
Morning,
bit
Mike.
of like a blur on there.
That little blue strip there is some advertising space I put up.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what I mean. You got like, it's like black on your finger.
What
Anyway.
is that? It's right on my nose. I don't know what it is. But,
The plague.
There it is.
It's
okay.
not there in real life. Okay.
Okay, you're
So-
back. Council meeting yesterday. I love having you on a Wednesday morning because there's lots to talk about. So why don't we start with your thoughts? What's top of mind for you?
Top of mind is, you know what? Having the TRU team there was just awesome. You know, I thought that was, great. I was at that game and it was really good. And seeing guys there that like John Antelope and Dino and all these guys that have built the soccer in this city. Probably more John. I mean, Dino does a lot for many, things. But John Antelope, I think around 20 years ago, he's been a big part of soccer. And to see soccer in Kamloops when it's minus, I mean, I was freezing.
Were you at the final?
Yeah, I was at the final. I was standing actually beside Mrs. Kamita, and it was freezing. But the amount of people that were there, it was just incredible to see.
Yeah.
How people stood up and went.
Mayor's
there.
talking about the men's soccer team from True. They won the national champions this year in November, and they were honored at City Council yesterday, just in case out-of-town viewers don't know.
Okay, I also want to ask you about this team player, you not being a team player, accusations from some of the council members, and the survey that was done there. But first, I heard you talking to Marcello Bernardo, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, whatever it was, saying that maybe you feel like there's sour grapes from some people on council, and some of this rift is from people who are on council that are just upset that you got in. So do you feel that way?
Let's put it this way. I don't think that anybody on council, maybe one person, voted for me, okay? And so, yeah, there's some things, and we got to move on. The election's over. I mean, it's like I said, I think it was to Marcello, the citizens of Kamloops picked the team, and I'm the team leader or the mayor, and it's my job to build a team. And it's not the CAO's job to build the team. It's my job, and when we're having team building meetings where the CAO is a part of, not only that, the profiling of everybody includes him, and he's in that. And I believe that it's my job as mayor to build a team, not the CAO. The CAO should be building his team. Like, we need a lot of employees and things like that.
What's the downside to having you and David Trowin there with the council? Isn't more better? What's the downside to having you and David Trowin both in the team building exercise?
Well, I think we need to build a team. Like I said, the citizens of Kamloops picked the team. Mm-hmm. Okay, they didn't pick the CAO and all the employees. So that's his team.
Okay.
I believe that I've got to build a team, and I need the opportunity to do that, and I haven't had that opportunity.
Okay, so
right
you
from the
said
get-go.
you said you wouldn't have gone to that meeting even if you were in town coming back from Mexico, because you said for this reason, and for also you said that you don't think it's money well spent. How do you plan going forward to build your team? In what manner? I know you're going to have individual meetings, but what's your plans?
Well, and then have more more group meetings. Okay,
Okay.
get
Without a facilitator? Without an outside consultant?
Well, that I'm not sure. Once I meet with everybody, I'm going to find out what everybody wants.
Okay.
It's kind of like the deputy mayor duties. Okay, they're things that were in the past, and the deputy mayor duties, for instance, right now is that even when I'm available, that when we get an email from anybody like Mike or anybody like that, which he has my personal cell, so he knows how to get a hold of me, but. The deputy mayor replies to all those emails. Well, maybe I should be relieving the deputy mayors of that duty. So that's the things I'll be looking at, and because it's my job to pick the deputy mayors and things like that. So maybe that's a little too much pressure on them and things like that, right?
Do you think that role should be expanded? Because I think Dale Bass is on our newspaper today saying that role, the mayor, deputy mayor, needs to be expanded. Because you're not around enough.
Well, I'm not around enough.
That's what
exactly that's the problem here, is that I work 15, 20 hours a day, and I don't have a problem with it. I'll do it for the next 4 years, or whatever it takes to get the job done. This morning I was at 2 shelters already this morning, okay? I put in 15 hours, 20 hours a day. I'm not the guy that wants to beat my chest about stuff in the media that I didn't do. You know, like there's certain events, like I said, Tammy Robertson,
Well, let's talk about those events. That was the gist of the council. Dale Bass speaking on behalf of council, saying we want to expand the deputy mayor role because Reid Hamer-Jackson is not making it to events to represent the city. And we mentioned a few. What were some?
Well, I've got, so you can respond to these how you may. There's the North American Indigenous Games. Mike O'Reilly went. Kelson Hall, O'Reilly, the BC Reconciliation Award, Kupke, Roseanne Cashmere, Dale Bass, Tammy Robertson, they went. Kibit was Kelly Hall and Margot Middleton, and then the CP Holiday Train, Katie Newstater. I heard her say in council last night that unexpectedly she had to go. So I'm guessing she meant because you weren't there. So do you think you should have been at those?
Well, as a matter of fact, sure, I'd like to be at all of them. But let's start with the Kelson Hall, because that was probably one of the first ones. And I made it very clear to staff and everyone that I felt that Barb Berger should be there because she has done the work.
Manager of culture at the city.
Yeah, Barb Berger, the manager, yeah. So at that point, then they said that they wanted a public official. So I asked Mike O'Reilly, because Mike O'Reilly has had a lot to do with it. You know what I had to do with it? Nothing. Okay, so I don't want to be beating my chest or going and getting keys when everybody else, they know more about it. So I don't want to be that person, okay? The games, we'll take that one. I was in the middle of a meeting with when we're talking about over 1,000 housing units, 1,000, okay? And this was the bid for the games for 2027. Yeah. I'm in the middle of the meeting and I can see, I'm not going to walk out of this meeting. These business people have come from Vancouver, and we're talking about 1,000 housing guys, and not only 1,000 houses, but a huge tax base, huge. And I'm not going to just walk out. So I started texting, and eventually I got a hold of Mike O'Reilly, who, you know, Councillor Sarai and O'Reilly were going to be there anyway. So I got a hold of Mike and asked if you could get up and say a few words, and then I got done the meeting, and I did get there. Okay, I got there, and they asked me if I said, well, no, this is ready to start. That's fine. That's fine. You know, and anything that happened with it, Mike would have been involved with anyways. And then the hockey, okay, the Kibit,
yeah.
And the I'd already asked Margot Middleton to do it when the night of we had a.
I think you're supposed to ask the deputy mayor, though, right? Is that?
Well, no, you know that's the thing.
Usually
I read the charter. Well, I read the
usually.
charter. The way the deputy mayor thing works is if the mayor isn't available, then the deputy mayor takes over,
Yeah.
and then if the deputy mayor can't do it, then the next person in line. But from what I read in the charter, you know, like why am I going to match up somebody that, you know, for instance, minor hockey might not be very happy with because they, you know, gave their hockey rink away for a year. And that you got someone else on council that was part of minor hockey, and you know have kids in minor hockey.
You say Kelly Hall's a better fit for that.
Well, Kelly or Margot Middleton.
Yeah.
Margot Middleton.
Margot's been on the board forever. She has deep roots in there.
Yeah, I mean, I get calls from people that seriously they're not fans of other councillors that. You know, I'm not going to get into it, but you know, because I don't want to drag this stuff out, right? But anyway, so that's who I felt would be better. I mean, why send somebody that everybody's going, oh yeah, there's
With the beating your chest thing and not wanting to take credit. I mean, that's obviously an admirable thing. You don't want to take credit from someone else's work. But Sadie Hunter wrote a column last night. I think you might have saw it. She said Reid can still go in his official capacity, which is kind of a requirement for the job, and praise other people.
Yeah, you're not accepting
You can
praise,
say-
but you're there to represent the city as a mayor. Sadie Hunter, you're the adversary in the election. She said in her column that that's part of the job, and you should be there representing the city, and you don't have to be beating your chest and taking accolades. You're there to represent the city, and that was her criticism of you.
Okay, well, and you know, let's go to the Reconciliation Awards in Victoria. In late November, early December. Our executive assistant and myself and Tammy Robertson, I'd already said I felt that she would be better to go because she has done so much for that. What have I done? I've done nothing. So I felt that was all set up. And then I learned that after that, when I get back, that Councillor Bass went, and then I heard that everything they talked about was about Tammy Robertson anyway, what she had done. And then just yesterday I learned that. Tammy Robertson was already asked by the previous mayor, by Ken Christian and David Tromwin. So
You're confused?
I'm a little confused, exactly, you know. And I said to her, well, I didn't know that. Nobody told me that. I said, but I asked you to go because I felt that you have done the work. So, you know, I mean, 15, 20 hours a day, you're telling me I'm working part-time? I'll tell you something right now. I'll guarantee I'm putting in more time in one day than some councillors are putting in all week.
Do you think the general public actually really cares, too, about you going to drop the puck at Kibet? Or do you just feel like that's not really, that they don't really care? And it's just, you know, we're talking about it and councillors are making a big deal about it, and it really doesn't matter? Or
I don't think, hey, listen, I was on the board of minor hockey, guys.
Yeah.
I would have loved to be there. If I could have been there, I would have been there, okay? Same as the holiday train, okay? I'd have been there. But there are two events at the same time. I can't be there, okay? So I'd love to be there, you know? And that's what the deputy mayor is. But, you know, we've got, you know, you take Sadie Hunter. Who is Sadie Hunter?
Well, she's a former councillor,
candidate,
and she was
former
a mayoral candidate, and a citizen, and
sorry,
a
what?
resident.
She was what?
She was a former councillor and a mayoral candidate.
So you're suggesting...
But she's a journalist.
Well, she used to be, yeah. She actually...
Well,
she
why
was
would that journalist not talk to somebody that she's talking about? You know what? I'm going to tell you something. The night I got elected, I think it was in your newspaper, she never come over and congratulate. You know what she said? I'm a toxic individual. So, and now CFJC has hired her to do articles for who? I mean, just have a look at how many articles she's done.
Yep.
Okay? What is she, you know, what? She's a team builder? She worked for Away Home Kamloops for how long?
Well, a short time.
Okay, I've built teams my whole life. Okay, I've built sports teams, I've ran dealerships and things like that. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to continue to work on building a team. And it's not going to be through, I know you know, some media love the stories. And, you know, I just heard a clip this morning about, you know, me talking about Gord Bamford.
Yeah.
But they clipped out the point of it.
Which was?
The point of it was
point
that
of
one
it
of
is-
his friend,
Yes,
from
about-
Alberta,
Yeah,
who
getting,
came to
getting
Kamloops
harassed, panhandling, going into restaurants all the time.
with their ball team.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
And like I said, next year, I want to talk to that guy and say they came and said, you know what? We came to Kamloops and holy smokes,
We
is it
weren't
ever? It's a
harassed
beautiful
anymore.
place, and we all know it's a beautiful
Yeah.
place. I mean, come on.
Yeah. You, on that note, one last thing. Since October 15th, the election night, have you ever spoke to Sadie Hunter since then? Ever?
You know, the only times I've spoke to Sadie Hunter is over the last 3 years because I tried to get her as a counselor to get her up in the middle of the night sometimes with
no,
me.
but since the election?
Have I talked to her?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No. I'm a toxic.
Do you feel like the majority of the council members are fed up with you already?
I think that they've been a little bit misled, I guess, you know, and fed up with me. I've just been working. I mean, it's like I said, I mean, when I talked to two councillors and asked if they've ever met Susan Brown from Interior Health, and they kind of went off and, you know, said, well, no, she's never been in front of council. Well, I got a hold of her, and, you know, I texted her the other day, and I, as you know, I introduced the complex care beds a little early because I didn't know that they were supposed to go, but it's announced now, so I
Yes,
can
it's
say
out there
something.
now, yeah.
But, you know, I text her and, you know, congratulate her, and you know, they've said for years they couldn't get a hold of her. Well, she was in the middle of the meeting and text me, and thank you, you know, like.
So you think you have a different way of doing things and it's effective?
Yeah, I think that talking, getting personal with people, don't get a relationship with people. It's just like, you know, I've been, things I can't bring up, talking to people that have ran across Canada that have opened recovery facilities. And I'm talking to a lot of different individuals. You know, I'll be talking to Ravi Kalan, you know.
Housing minister.
He's
He's in town today.
Yeah, so I'll be meeting up with him, and I'm going to do a lot of work. But there's a lot of things you can't, you know. It's just like talking about the 1,000, you know, housing units. You can't just, you know, off the record.
It's a work in progress.
This idea
I am too.
Yeah.
This idea of you know, driving back mojitos on the beach in Mexico is false. You were working a lot.
Well, I was working so much that the people that are down there with me were getting a little upset, including my wife.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I was fending calls from people from closing businesses to people with bylaw issues. I even just walking the building. I you know, if you want me to say, oh, who was what, I actually had a call from an individual that was having an issue. I don't want to say anything, but I think I helped a little bit.
Is that you, Mike Miltimore?
That was me, and yeah, Reid helped us out. We had a small problem with bylaws and ICBC, and he was very responsive. I can say that for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, and like I say, working 15, 20 hours a day. I mean, you know, I'd love these counselors to you know, maybe, you know, we'll talk about maybe coming up with me and, you know, come do the streets a little bit because you know you learn a lot. Like this morning, I was at 2 shelters, and you know what's happening down here is a lot different than what's happening up there. You know.
What do you mean by that?
Well, it's like certain people say they're doing things, but they're not doing things, and that kind of thing. It's you know, and when I have a counselor tell me that I don't think we need, they don't know if we need a select committee, I said, well, just walk down West Victoria Street and then go across Tronquil Corridor, and then go up by the bus depot, and then walk out and talk to people in Valley View, and then go hang around the 7-Eleven downtown, and just walk around town. And if you don't think that we need to have a select committee
for these issues,
for these issues,
Yeah.
then again, maybe we got to relook at the standing committee.
48 West Street.
Yeah, a couple more things I want to talk about you before we let you go here. Yesterday's council meeting, you made a motion, a notice of motion. And a notice of motion, just so people know, is that when a council member gives notice that they're going to bring forward a motion at the next council meeting to talk about an issue. So you at the very end of the meeting last night, on January 17th, you made a notice of motion that you want council to debate a proposal from you that the city look into the operation and possible relocation of 48 Victoria Street West, which is the city-owned storage facility for the homeless. Because I guess you have
It's
concerns.
ran by the Friendship Center, yeah.
Yeah. So what's the genesis of that? Why do you want to look at the operation and possible relocation?
Well, because I just don't think it's working. It was developed. It was kind of inspired by the in 2017, 2018. Don't get I might have off a little bit, but it was modeled off of the First United Church on East Hastings.
Yes.
Okay, we're modeling off of East Hastings. Okay.
You have a problem with that?
Well,
Some things downtown.
Well,
East side
we modeled off of it, but actually, if you take a look and go up and down that street right now, we've done a pretty good job at modeling after it. Okay, because it looks. You go to the tail end of East Hastings right now, and you go to West Victoria Street and just take a look at what you got. Okay. So anyway. They did that in 2017, 2018 at the First United Church. So about 8 months ago, and I traveled down East Hastings because I've got friends and family and kids that are on East Hastings, and kids that I try to help and and have helped, as a matter of fact. I can get into a longer story of one that's doing very good right now that should probably be dead by now, but anyways. So anyway, about 8 months ago or so, I called down. I drove by there and I didn't see much going on, and so I called down there. And the guy told me that they closed that program a year ago.
Down in Vancouver.
Yeah, and it just attracted. And I feel that we're attracting. And the other thing too is 48 West. I think we're stigmatizing people. I mean, we're putting them right on the main street of everywhere. Okay, because you're laying right. It's dangerous. It's probably not big enough for what they're doing. But again, reviewing to relocate it.
But what about it?
And not only that, we can get our parking spot back for our city employees because it was a parking spot, and now we're paying. We're paying to lease rent parking spots from BCLC.
It used to.
So
actually,
it's a bit of a financial thing.
It used to be
also.
a gas station a long time ago.
Yeah,
Anyway,
and
my question is, what about it concerns you? I mean, it's a storage facility for the homeless to have their stuff, which is a laudable goal. They need to have their, because it gets stolen on the streets. It was envisioned as a place where the homeless population can have a secure place to put their stuff while they go about their stuff in the day. And we know there's drug use there. Everyone sees it, but I see it everywhere. So it's become almost like desensitized.
Don't accept it.
But what else about that are you concerned about?
Okay, well, I don't think it's big enough. It's very dangerous for them. People are getting hit by cars. There's car accidents.
Okay.
A lot of the people you call homeless that do hang out there, they're not homeless.
What are they?
They live in the Mission Manor. They live in the Emerald. They're at the Emerald. They live at the Rose Thornbill.
They're on the edge, though, of homelessness, right?
They live at the crossroads.
It's a marginalized population, let's call it that.
Right. And again, I don't feel it's effective. I think it's in the wrong spot. But again, I'm asking for a review of it. It's why are we stigmatizing people? Come on, you guys, anybody that drives downtown Lansdowne and drives by there and sees, I mean, even when they have the day lodge, you're not allowed to do drugs there. So everybody goes on the east side. So now, why are we stigmatizing people? Why are, they're laying out there with needles hanging out of their arms and everything like that. I mean, we need to take a look at something. It's just one part of a change that I feel that we should.
People are going to come at you though, right? Because this is close to your business, isn't it? Like your business.
Well, it's down at the other end of the road. Well, they come after me all they want. You know, if they don't, hey, if it doesn't get approved, it doesn't get approved.
Has this idea been spurred by you, or have you been asked by any business people, the
No,
Downtown Business Association? It's you, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, and do you have any idea of, if not there, where, or do you not want one at all?
Well, again, no. That's why I said relocation and a review of it. You know, that's not my job at this point. I mean,
First steps.
First step. Yeah, this is going to.
Now, a notice of motion is just that. It's a notice that you gave motion. And the last time there was a notice of motion of substance was Dennis Walsh's when he wanted to talk about recovery the first time and didn't even get to the debate stage. Now, BetStamp app.
BetStamp.
BetStamp, that's right.
What is it?
It's the Trivago of betting. So if you want to get a hotel room and you don't want to go to 500 sites to find the best hotel room, you go to Trivago or one of those sites, hotels.com, and they kind of do all the work for you and get you the best rate. BetStamp does the same thing for betting lines. If you want to bet, for example, on a hockey game tonight, and you want good odds, you go to BetStamp, and it'll show you
all the different sports books. Who's got the best odds? They call that line shopping. The best place to do it. It's an app you have to download called BetStamp. Use the promo code Kamloops Last week.
Which we look at the odds. The odds are really long. I think it's 10-1 this morning that council will even consider debating this. What do you think is going to happen next week when you introduce this motion? Do you think council is going to say nope? Because they can say nope and it just dies there.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen? BetStamp has a long odds against you.
You know what? Same odds as me getting to be the mayor.
All right.
Okay? Same players, okay?
No.
Same players.
I'll
I'm going to
tell
be
you
bringing more motions forward. But hey, listen, that motion that Dennis Walsh put forward.
Yeah. The first one died. The second one
died.
voted. Yeah, the second
but
one.
look how close the second. Now, just before the election, look how close that one was.
It was one vote. It was 5-4 and then 8-1 on the sub vote.
I've been going for the safety of the community the whole time. Last month before the election, a lot of people changed their...
Yes. Another thing I want to ask you about from yesterday's meeting, and it ties back to your time in Mexico, and it's the lead of our story that I wrote last night. It's you said, I feel safer in parts of Mexico than I do in Kamloops, British Columbia. And you were referring to the Citizen Satisfaction Survey, which we might want to call Citizen Unsatisfaction Survey, because it was the first time in my 18 years here where a lot has plummeted. A lot of the confidence.
Not surprising given the pandemic.
No, it's not. No, but it's before the pandemic. And here's what I'm going to say.
That's not blaming the pandemic.
No,
this was going on before.
Here's what I'm going to say. If you look at the data, yes,
I blame the pandemic.
No, the pandemic has. But if you look at the data,
not for everything.
No,
for
if you look at the data, and I'm working on a piece on this. Yes, the pandemic has done a lot to it. But if you look at the data in the survey going back to 2003.
Yeah.
Things sort of went really sideways from 2018 onward, 2019 onward. And that kind of coincides with the wildfires and evacuations and people not knowing where to go. Everything kind of went sideways right there. And it's been going down, well, 2015 onward, it's been going down. My point is this: you said you feel safer in some parts of Mexico than Kamloops. That jumped out at me as quite the statement. And the satisfaction survey showed 64% people think the quality of life has dropped. And
he was in a resort in Mexico, though, wasn't he?
No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't.
he was on the
beach. He was in a condo. I was in my room texting guys like Mike and the girls at Stair Warehouse who had to close their business early
less safe than a
on
5-star.
January 1st.
Now,
Chad Klassen texted me, he said, Reid, are you okay?
Yes,
I said, why? Is there unrest?
Yes.
He goes, yes. I said, where? In Kamloops or in Mexico?
Well, yes, I know, but I think.
But from what seriously, you know what I'd like you guys to do is, and it wasn't just me. I didn't mean to say just me feel safe, but I don't see. I mean, we've got a young guy that makes bracelets for us and stuff on the beach. He's just he lives in Cabo, and he lives in a place that looks like a ghetto. But he's so proud of it, you guys, so proud. And you go there, and you would think that there would be crime all over, and it's not. He said he just loves his place. He's so happy. He's got a little burner, But you know what I'd like you to do is do a survey and ask, because there's a lot of people from Kamloops and around that go to Mexico, and in certain areas, and I don't mean all of Kamloops, don't get me wrong, but let's do a survey and ask the people that do go to Mexico if they feel safer in Mexico where they go, or if they feel safer
Well, it
here. And
depends
it's
where.
not just me.
It depends
I'm
where in
getting-
Mexico,
you know,
right?
but,
Because
but
we
you don't
both
go
been
to
to
Sinaloa
Mexico.
State.
No,
Come on,
we
you
both
don't-
been to
what do you have
Mexico,
with
and
El
it can
Chapo?
be safe as hell or it can be you're dead. I know.
Hanging on the El Chapo State. I mean,
It'd
there's
be
a
a tough
chance.
survey to do, I
it'd
think.
be a
You
tough
know?
survey to do.
Well,
but
I don't know.
It all depends
Maybe
where you
just
go.
One of your thing, you did all those polls. You know,
we do it in the
what's-
paper.
We could do a
what's wrong with
poll online. I mean,
Well, we'll
And
say-
I didn't just mean me. You guys, I mean, I talked to a lot of people. It's like Mike's issue was nothing. You know, it was to Mike or whatever, but that's not what I mean. It wasn't a safety issue.
No.
But if you talk to the community, and I do talk to a lot
Well,
of
the
people.
the survey
Talk
said
to a lot-
64%.
But that was only 400 people. You
Yeah,
talk to a
yeah.
lot of other people,
Yeah.
okay? And people are afraid to walk out. I just went and interviewed, a girl interviewed me from the West Side School, okay? And the kids are afraid. They're afraid to go places. They're almost stepping on needles or are stepping on needles. And the community in certain areas are afraid, and we need to change that. And my take with talking with Gord Bamford and Radio NL only put one clip, but the point was,
Yep.
my point was, here's a country music star that loves Kamloops, okay? He's a promoter of Kamloops, and one of his best buddies came to Kamloops last year
And a
with a
neg- and
ball
a
team.
negative experience.
And their experience was not good. It was, he told me, we'd walk into restaurants and people were taking this and coming, being accosted by homeless. They call them homeless people, but some aren't. They just have mental health and addiction, not just. They have mental health and addiction problems. So my point was that we need to get Kamloops where he's not talking about Kamloops that way. Or when I sit at downtown Kamloops last summer and talk to people that were on the Rocky Mountain Rail Tour, and the first thing they want to do is go home, get out of town, and they're going to go home and they're going to tell everybody what's going on in Kamloops. And I want that to change. So I don't care what's going on all over Canada. I care what's happening here. And what I'd like to do is maybe be the lead for changing that.
Well,
do
maybe
they have a club car in the Rocky Mountain?
Yeah, I think they do.
club car?
Exclusive club car.
Well, these people, I sat down with them at one of the restaurants and just sat down. Me and a friend of mine just sat down with them and started talking to them. They told us all about it. I want them going home and talking good things about Kamloops, just like the Gord Bamford's buddy that lives in Alberta. I want him coming back next time with the ball team and saying, "Hey, it was a great experience. What a beautiful, and we have a beautiful city. We got a lot of stuff going on."
That's the $1 million.
And we want-
That's the $1
and we
million
want-
challenge.
we want him-
How do you fix it?
Well, that's
and that we could get into that next time you're on. But,
That's
yeah.
what-
What else about the survey stood out to you? So we had 400 people do this thing by phone. 83% of people polled, they think they have a pretty good quality of life. So that's about the national average. But it's down from 95% in 2019. So 64% of people feel like their quality of life has worsened. What else stands out to you about that?
Well, that's 400 people.
Yeah.
We got 100,000.
Small sample size.
We got
it's
we
more
got
than-
100,000.
Well,
it's
one
more than that.
person's a small sample size, though. Your buddy in Alberta that's only one.
Yeah.
But the problem is he's hanging out with a guy that's a country music star who loves Kamloops, okay? And so that word, we don't want that, that was a whole team of people, right? That was a whole, and we want them going back.
Bamford's son's a Blazers prospect.
That's why he's got a connection here. That's why he plays sometimes at the Sandman Center there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And Gord, like you said, Gord thinks Kamloops is a great place, and that's what it is. It is a great place, and we got to start right here. I don't, and I'm sorry, but I don't really care. I do care, but I care more about Kamloops than I do about Kelowna or Victoria.
You don't care about comparing the 82% to 85%.
I want us to be the
or
lead.
whatever.
I want us to be, if we can get recovery facilities going and we can get people off the streets and get people healthy and not having stigmatizing them up and down the roads with needles hanging out of their arms. And that's a big thing about this,
You
this
think-
motion
how-
I got
how do you
going.
think-
Let's get them better. And you guys, I get up in the mornings. I know that people at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, a lot of them want to try to go to detox. They want to try to get help, okay? They want to. But if you get them at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you got a different person. You got a different person. And we need to have, and again, I really want to push to get outreach workers working 24/7. And there's a lot of people out there that are, I discussed this with some outreach workers too, that on this, for this 48 West thing too. And it's not a great spot. It's right, you're laying them like,
We got some
didn't work in East Hastings, so why is it working here?
something fun to finish on here, okay? I got a surprise clip for you. Bill, can you hit the clip? How's it going?
Pretty damn good. How are you?
Oh, well, I got dumped by my girlfriend yesterday, so,
No.
yeah.
Oh, there's
That's it.
lots of them out there. Keep that up.
Yeah. Last time we talked, you were essentially healthy, but not in the lineup. Let's start there. How tough was that for you to be, you worked your ass off to be healthy, to rehab, and just kind of to be in that spot?
It was good. It was a little bit motivating, a little bit aggravating. But I kept talking to the coach. He just said, hey, just be patient. We're going to get you in there. Then 3 games went by. We didn't win a game or many face-offs. So threw me in, gave me an opportunity. And here we are now. I think we're sitting 3rd in the league in draws. So it's a good opportunity. And it made me more hungry missing those first 3 games too. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for that. Just made me hungrier and really kind of took a look in the mirror and said, all right, well, you're not in now, but you're going to get in. So do your job once you do, right?
All right, so for people who don't know, your son plays for the Vancouver Warriors, had a bad knee injury, had surgery.
Meniscus, yeah.
And then they just weren't playing him for the first few games, and then he got back in the lineups. Just your thoughts in general on everything that's going on with Ty.
Well, you know, they had him on the injury reserve list, so we'll get that clear.
Well,
Right?
but they took him off of it.
Yeah.
At the start of the season, he was on it. But,
Yeah.
But then he was cleared to play by the time.
Well, was he?
Yeah. He just from what he told me, he was
Okay,
cleared
that's
to
what
play.
he. Okay, but from what I saw, he was on the injury reserve list. He thought he was ready to go. Okay, he thought he was ready to go. But I think it's great that he's back in the lineup, and I like the part about how he told you just get on with her. Like there's more out there, right?
Keep my chin up.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep your chin up, kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't the right one, anyways.
Did
Okay,
you ever get dumped when you were younger, badly?
badly?
Yeah, like did you ever get
Relationship.
relationship?
You know
broken
what?
heart
I'm
from
going
a
to tell
girl?
you something. Maybe it's not as bad as you think. Maybe you and I should chat about it, okay?
Yeah.
Because some of the dumpings are some of the best dumpings, okay? So.
It'll turn out in the long
Best thing
run.
that
Yeah,
happens
that's right.
sometimes,
That's
yeah.
exactly. I said that to a friend of mine one time. I said, "Don't worry about it. She's doing you a favor, okay?" And he said he's never going to get married. I said, "Yeah, you got married. Don't worry about that." So then he came to me years later and he thanked me very much because he said, "You were dead on."
I told my kids that too. Both of them are in their 20s and they've gone through heartbreak. And both of them, I said at the time, I said, everything I say now, you're not going to listen to me, but later you're going to thank me because it's only time heals a heart.
I still like
time.
this one. This one might not be done.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about your son.
No, I like talking about you.
Yeah.
We can talk about you too.
No, I'm
Do you
good.
get
I've been married for 34 years, boys. Okay, I got a little bit of,
Yeah, well,
I can
that's
tell
what
you,
I was-
I
that's
can
why
give you a little bit of advice
absolutely, yeah.
of how to keep it together.
That's rare these
It wasn't
days.
because of
Tara
me.
Holmes used to have a matchmaking column. We should get
Yeah,
Mr. Mayor
yeah.
writing about couples, maybe.
No, I think I'm going to stay out of that. I got enough team building to do here.
Reader's Digest of the heart.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
absolutely.
But anyway, I think it's great. My son's back in the lineup. The team won their first game of the year.
Yeah, professional
I think
lacrosse,
I think he was
that's cool.
68%, 67, 68%.
66.
Was it 66? Yeah. I think he's
and the
66 now,
team-
but I think that game, was
Oh, the game he would.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
66 now. The team was like 29%.
Oh, was it? Okay, I
Yeah.
thought it was 25, but yeah, for 4. I mean, and lacrosse having the ball is a big thing, right? It's even bigger it's bigger than hockey because you got it in your mesh, man. You got a good opportunity.
And there's a time clock too. Is
Yeah.
there they play their games at Rogers Arena or GM Place, whatever it's called, where the Canucks play. How often do you get down and watch the games?
As much as I can. I mean, as much as I can. And you can watch it on TV. Like we watched it when we were in Mexico. You could see it on TV.
You know what?
they got
They're
TSN.
in Vegas this weekend at that new arena
Friday,
in
yeah.
Mandalay Bay. I bet
Yeah.
she's gonna have a good time, especially if they win. Are they gonna have fun out in Vegas?
Wow, that's quite the road trip, eh? Man, imagine that.
Okay, we're like 48 minutes into this segment, so
Holy moly!
we're gonna say bye to the mayor. This segment has been brought to you by Gord's Appliance and Mattress Center. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Yep.
I appreciate it.
Wow, 48 minutes. Me.
48. Well, that's what happens when.
Don't want the 9-hour cycle, please.
Freaking $500 hydro bill, piece of trash.
I need to speak to Gord on the Niner.
Hey, no, I'm actually Steve, the new owner.
First things first, pal. You should probably update your sign. Number 2, my dishwasher is tangled again. The 9-hour cycle, hydro bill through the roof. You guys don't fix appliances, I know that, so I need a new one.
We actually do fix appliances, but if you want, I can show you some new ones first and have a look. You got a price in mind?
Money is not an obstacle for me.
Money's definitely an obstacle. He's the cheapest guy in Kamloops. Ain't that right, Darby?
Well, this here is going to be your Cadillac model, top of the line. This is our middle-of-the-road dishwasher, just a great dishwasher at a great price. This is our budget-friendly model, still a great dishwasher, just at a bit of a lower price.
Price doesn't work for me. Let's see if you can fix mine at home.
Alrighty then. There you go, seems to be good. How's the fridge working?
The fridge is fine, Gord.
It's Steve.
Above the Foulds, Christopher Foulds, TRU investigation results.
Yes, so on January 17th, Tuesday, yesterday, the much anticipated and long-awaited report into complaints against 2 senior administrators at Thompson Rivers University was finally released. The report was released. It's 527 pages long, heavily redacted, which means a lot of it's blacked out. Tons of it's blacked out in there. But the end result was this. The university had 2 investigators. They spent $1 million in legal fees in the past year and a half, 2 years almost, and they found that they interviewed eight complainants. They agreed to interview 8 complainants. There were way more than that. There was 13 that we know of. We talked to 11, and more after that, but they only went with 8. For reasons they're not disclosing. So 8 complainants, and of those 8 complainants, there was 55 allegations of wrongdoing on behalf of the 2 administrators. 33 with 1 administrator and 22 allegations against another administrator. And the report found that the administrator against whom 22 allegations were levied was cleared of all those allegations. He's clear. The other administrator, of the 33 allegations against him, the investigation found 10 that they substantiated, including sexual harassment of a woman, derogatory language toward Indigenous people, another sexual harassment complaint, just bad behavior. The weird thing is,
No name and no punishment discussion.
yeah, the weird thing is they won't say which administrator was cleared and which administrator was found to be guilty of committing these 10 boorish acts. But they say privacy laws prevent them from saying which one is which. However, in the report itself, it names the 2 administrators who were under investigation, and our reporting over the years, and CBC's reporting, also named those administrators. It's a fact they were under investigation, and they are Matt Milovic and Larry Fisher.
Larry Phillips.
Larry Phillips, yeah. And even though they don't say who was who, Matt Milovic remains at the university in a vice president role. Phillips left without explanation 13 months ago, and he used to be in charge of human resources there, people and culture. It doesn't take a rocket scientist, but I don't understand. I still don't know. We're trying to ask questions. Is their citing legislation fair enough that they say they can't say who is who? They can't name them, but their names are in the rest of the report, with the background saying, on this day we received a complaint against this person. They named the people who the complaints were against. I'm just thinking, if I'm the guy who was cleared of any wrongdoing, wouldn't I want my name out there so people don't think I'm the bad guy out there? So.
Yeah. Well, what about the fallout? What do you see as being some of the fallout we can expect?
Well, I mean, the fallout is the complainants. There'll be a number whose complaints were not looked at. They'll be upset about it. I sat in with Jessica Wallace, our reporter, for about 7 interviews with the complainants, and it was tough to go through. There was a lot of crying, a lot of tears, a lot of hurt, tons of information that kind of was disturbing to hear. And they're going to be upset about it. They're going to be upset probably because they probably thought that their concerns weren't taken. I guess the overall thing is, Brett Fairburn, the president of the university, and Marilyn McLean, the chair of the board of the directors at TRU, they both say that now that it's done, they accept the findings and they want to make it a safer, more inclusive, and they want to learn from this. And it's fair enough, and that's what you want to do. But I just think when you have that many complaints from so many different people, many of whom don't even know each other, and many who weren't working there at the same time. 7 of the 8 they talked to were former employees. I just think, doesn't that speak to, well, it speaks to something's going on there that shouldn't be going on, and hopefully it improves as we go forward.
Okay, let's move on to the title of Hastings. It's brought to you by McDonald's.
Ba 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 ba.
Yes, how you doing this morning?
Yeah, everything's fine.
Good. Could I get a triple quarter pounder with cheese, please?
We have the double quarter pounder.
Oh, and you guys serve the quarter pounders at 7:39 a.m.?
Let me check. It's $7.99, the double quarter pounder.
Oh, and you serve them this early in the morning?
Yep.
Wow. You know what? I'm going to actually pass on that. And are your coffees still the small price of $1?
Yep.
Oh, at all your Kamloops and Merritt locations, right?
Yep.
Awesome. I'll get 2 medium coffee, both with 2 cream.
Morning.
Amitesh.
How are you?
Good.
Nice to see you.
How you doing, bud? I got the coupons.
For me?
No, these are for my coffee.
Oh, I'm like, for me? I'm just kidding.
Okay, see ya.
Yo, have a good one.
Thanks.
Thank you.
That is Corinne Brown. She and her rink, various editions of the rink, have been in the news since I got here. That's 2010, even before that, 2009. They've kind of grown up in the public spotlight because of their curling ability. They are kind of part of the fabric of the sports community in Kamloops. And they had essentially a once-in-a-career opportunity on the weekend in Chilliwack to win the BC final and go on to compete at the National Scotties on home ice, which comes along with all the prestige. They'd be the toast of the town, the media coverage, sponsorship, but most of all, just the once-in-a-lifetime experience. They lost in an extra end, a heartbreaking loss to Clancy Grandy and the Vancouver Club rink that they had, and devastating. On the same day, Sam Fisher, who is the lead for the Brown rink, her husband is Jared Colomea. He lost in the BC final, keeping him from going to a second straight Brier, which this year is in Ontario. Devastating. So he had to drive home with Sam, kind of a loser cruiser type thing, and devastating. And their coach is Jim Cotter. He's had some great wins, a 10-time Brier veteran, and he's had some devastating losses, and he was feeling it from a different perspective as the coach of Team Brown this year. Just gut-wrenching stuff. Anyway, I called them all, and sometimes athletes, when times are tough, they dodge the calls. I've never had that problem ever. Corinne's had some tough losses before. We've had some emotional conversations after tough losses. She called me right back. She was in the meeting, gave me the time, and went through a tough interview. Aaron Pincott picked up right away. We had a conversation, a very honest conversation. But I don't even know if I can go to right now, I don't feel like going to the National Scotties, but I will eventually, because she's going to support her friends and support the city. That's got to come together now. Another aspect of this, the National Scotties, ticket sales. This is not good for ticket sales. You don't have the home team in. Tournament organizers, it's flat out not good for the tournament. The tournament's going to be fine. It's the best curling in Canada is coming to Kamloops. The tournament's going to be fine. I'll get that out there. Anyway, I just wanted to give a shout out to these athletes, all of whom, most of the ones I've mentioned, we're going to hear some of the conversations we had with them from the fallout of losing the tough games.
Yeah, sun still came up, so that was good. Pretty disappointed, obviously. Yeah, I would say that's the biggest feeling right now, is just that disappointment is still pretty raw.
What stings most about missing out on the opportunity to play at the National Scotties on home ice? It's an opportunity that I guess it probably doesn't come around again. So it's a tough question, but I mean, how do you deal with that right now, missing out on that opportunity?
Yeah, I don't actually fully know yet. I don't know if it's totally sunk in yet. I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure it will over the next few weeks and whatnot. It'll be a bit sad when the Scotties are going on here and we're not a part of them. I'm sure I'll go watch. Right now I don't want to, but I know I will. And I've got some friends from across the country that will be playing in it, so supporting them and yeah, Counts always, shows up for big tournaments and whatnot. So probably go catch a few draws. Right now it's pretty raw, so we'll see. But yeah, like you said, it probably doesn't come around again in my curling career. So I think that's probably the part that stings the most right now. Will sting over the next however many weeks, so leading up to the Scotties. So.
Yeah, it breaks my heart for them, breaks my heart for the city of Kamloops. They left it all out there. They played their hearts out, and I couldn't be more proud of them for that.
Yeah, I mean, you and Sam are kind of in similar boats here.
Yeah.
What was it like to
to lean on each other, and how were you able to kind of interact after, a couple of tough losses like that?
Well, it's funny. Sam made the comment that misery loves company, so it was a sad drive home. But yeah, we lean on each other pretty hard in times like these. So just have to move on to the next one. It's tough for the girls. I mean, they're really looking forward to the hometown Scotties, right? Like that would have been the toast of the town for those girls for sure. It's the joy of sports, right? Like sometimes it's great and sometimes it's not great, but that's why we keep coming back.
Definitely leaning on each other is huge. We're really fortunate that we have a really great relationship amongst our team and Jim included. We had a good chat afterward, just kind of reflecting on the season and acknowledging the stride that we have made and all the hard work we did put in. So I think that was great just to know that we did put in the work to get ourselves in that position. And I know all of us really lean on our spouses as well. I think they're definitely really good, solid rocks for us, as well as our family. So we were fortunate to have a lot of support there to kind of chat with them after the games.
All right. Anything else you wanted to add?
No, that's pretty much it.
Okay. I appreciate the time. Thanks a lot, Corinne.
Yeah, no, thanks, Marty. Bye.
The last time we had a national curling championship in town here was, I think, 2014. It was the Briar. And Jim Cotter was there.
Lost in the final.
He went to the final against Quebec, I think, right?
I thought it was Cooey. I thought it was Cooey.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this would have been the successive time we've had a nationals where we would have had a local team in, which would have been really, really good. And like you say, it's heartbreaking.
Well, and their photos, Corinne's photo, and I think maybe Aaron's too, are on the posters that are around town.
Yeah.
They were kind of expected and people were really hoping. And you know me, I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. The Buffalo Bills had a playoff game going on at the same time as this final.
I was flipping back and forth with both of them.
And I was equally as nervous for both of them. I mean, you're not supposed to root for teams when you're a reporter, but I don't know, it's tough not to feel for them. I just more hope that there's no failure. I'm almost hoping there's no failure because you worry so much about how it's going to affect them. It's not life or death, okay? I get that. People were like, oh, it's just curling. But when you have a life dream and it's dashed, it's hard. It's not like a regular provincial final where you'll go get them next year. This one, there's a finality to never going to the National Scotties. Anyway, they dealt with it well.
And they probably will never again in their career. Probably. Well, I don't know. You could curl quite late. Curling's a sport you could take quite late, but it's unlikely that they'll be able to be in the Scotties in their hometown.
That's what I mean. But they can get back to the National Scotties. I'm just saying in their hometown.
When will they come back to Kamloops? Exactly right.
We got 4 tickets to the Scotties. I'll do something on Instagram with this post. We can give them away. February 17th, 6 p.m., draw 1, 2 pairs.
Yeah, and the tournament runs to about the 28th, I think. So, and the big entertainment venues at the Curling Center. There you go.
Okay, that's it for the Tattle Hastings. Let's wrap the show. Any thoughts? We had the mayor, about 40 minutes of the mayor.
Yeah, no, he's love to have the mayor here. Love to have all the councillors here because when you have anyone from city council here, and this is why I get feedback from people who watch the show. My brothers in North Vancouver watch the show; they love it, and they like when we have the mayor. They learn a lot about Kamloops. They think he's a pretty entertaining guy. But other people have said they like when we have councillors there. I've heard this online too because they learn a lot about what's happening in the city.
Yeah, I think the Wednesday, we just happened to have the show on a Wednesday, worked out pretty well. Mike, just great job today. Bill, thank you for all your hard work. We're 75 deep here.
75. It's exciting times.
Okay.
Exciting times. All right.
For Christopher Foulds, for Greg the engineer who's absent again, Magic Mike and Bill, we'll see you last week.
Last.